Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 20th of July and I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in the today's video, we'll discuss all the articles with respect to the UPSC examinations that have been there in the newspaper, and you can also download the explainer notes of this session from our Telegram channel. Link for the Telegram is given in description box in YouTube. Now, first of all, let's take the overview of the newspaper and let's understand that which articles are actually important for the examination. So the first page we have activist Tista Stelava to continue on bail, says Supreme Court. Now guys, you are not required to go too much in detail in this particular article with respect to the examination. Moving on, we have these advertisements in the city section. These are the regional issues, etc. that are there. Again, not much important for the exam point of view. Now guys, there is one this advertisement that has come talking about the aspirational district program. So just guys, here you can see some of the highlights about the aspirational district program. So first of all, let's understand that what is the aspirational district program. So aspirational district program is to improve the socio-economic indicators in 112 aspirational districts. Aspirational districts are those districts which have the lowest socio-economic indicators, and now they are being improved by the targeted government intervention. Now guys, when we talk about the aspirational districts, they have been identified, okay, on basically these parameters: health and nutrition, education, agriculture, water resource, financial inclusion, skill development, basic infrastructure. And there will be the three strategies: convergences, center and the state, both governments will provide the dedicated schemes. Then there will be the collaboration between the center and the state government, okay, and then there will be the competition in the different districts, so that through this competition they develop a kind of a competitive spirit, and through this competitive spirit they further evolve. So this competition is also going to be an important aspect of this particular thing. Fine. Moving on guys, after this moving on to the next page. So again, the regional state issues, etc. Congress brings the bill promising minimum income in Rajasthan, okay, so which has been called as the Nyay, okay. Now guys, there in the past also the ideas of the universal basic income and all such kind of things have been proposed, okay. So now the Rajasthan government has proposed such kind of a bill. That is about it. And then moving on guys, we will reach to the editorial page. Now in the editorial page, a job and career right, the disabled cannot be denied. We'll take this particular article with respect to the examination. The BJP is investing more in alliances, okay, not important article with respect to the examination, political article. Then guys, moving on, more than court action, revisit the Indus water treaty. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination. Fine. Then guys, on the side, the Ministry of Statistics, they have come out with the new standing committee on statistics, which will replace the new standing committee on statistics, which will replace the standing committee on economic statistics. Now if you are following the newspaper, we have seen this particular article earlier also, that what will be the objective and all such kind of things. Then further moving on, online abuse among college students, will take this particular article also with respect to the examination. Fine. Then further moving on, a third of central university teaching positions lying vacant. So basically guys, the article is talking about that how many of the sanctioned positions and vacant positions in the central universities. So if you see, there are nearly 19,000 positions that are there in the central universities, but out of that around 6,000, one third, are lying vacant. So if basically guys, when we talk about the level of the education, the quality of education, it depends on infrastructure, but at the same time teaching staff, okay, the availability of teachers, competence of teachers also plays a very important role. Then moving on guys, in the next page, why are tomato prices still high? So guys, we have seen this thing that the tomato prices, they reached to nearly 200 rupees per kg, okay, and the prices are still high, okay. So now what the issues has happened basically guys, when we talk about when we talk about the tomato production in India, it is largely contained in the states such as the andhra pradesh Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Odisha, Gujarat, okay, and 50% of the tomato productions comes from these particular states. and because of the climate issue, because of the climate issues, there have been a temporary shortage that has come. Okay, however guys, moving on, you are not really required to go too much in detail and track that where the prices are going on, what has been the movement and all such kind of things. So no need to go too much in detail in this. However, here we have an important article that we'll see with respect to the examination. What are the takeaways from the NATO summit? Okay, so recently in the Lithuania, NATO summit has happened. We'll take this article. Then further moving on, guys, we have this bibliography article. Bibliography article. In the bibliography article, they talk about the plots of some of the books that are there. Okay, so basically, in this bibliography article, the premise of the books, etc., they are largely given. A genre in itself, civil service memoirs are important records of the public administration. Okay, so basically guys, many a times of the civil servants, they write the memoirs in which they recount that what their experiences have been, what they did while they were on duty and all such. Okay, this becomes an important part. Okay, then further moving on, after that, Supreme Court agrees to list pleas to criminalize marital rape before 3-judge bench. Okay, so guys, when we talk about the marital rape is not a crime in India. What is a marital rape? Marital rape is when the husband has carried the sexual intercourse with the wife without the consent of the wife. That is a marital rape. So rape within a marriage, that is not a criminal activity right now in India, because under the provision of section 375, marital rape is an exception. But in the past, there have been the multiple requests that have been made that the marital rape is to be criminalized in India. Basically, the last year, Delhi High Court also gave a split judgment on this matter. Now the matter has been placed in front of the Supreme Court. So, as of now, guys, no need to go in this particular detail. But when the Supreme Court will come out with that judgment, then we will see that whether it has criminalized it or the status quo has been reserved. Okay. Then further moving on, after that, guys, manufacturing ecosystem for Airbus C295 aircraft taking shape in India. So basically guys, when we talk about the C295, C295 is a giant transport aircraft. It is a transport aircraft. Okay, and basically India is procuring the C295 C295 aircraft in the month of the September, and we are moving in this particular direction. Okay, that we develop the manufacturing ecosystem in India also, because this aircraft has been used by many of the forces. Indian Air Force is also procuring it. Okay. Then further moving on in this particular direction, we have the political articles, these tenders. Here we have one important article. 40% of districts do not have nursing college. We'll take this particular article with respect to the health. Then India climbs 7 points on passport index. We'll see this particular article. Personal law boards should be taken into confidence on UCC, Uniform Civil Code. So guys, Uniform Civil Code means to have a one uniform personal law system for all the different communities. As of now, guys, in India, there is the criminal law which is uniform for all, but the personal laws, they are not uniform for all. Different religious communities have a right that they can have their own personal laws. Personal laws are on the 4 matters: marriage, adoption, divorce and inheritance. Okay, so recently the Prime Minister proposed that we should come out with UCC. Even Article 44 of the DPSP provides that UCC should be brought. Now, it's basically in this particular thing, the minorities feels that often they will be homogenized. So their viewpoint should be taken. So this is just what has have happened. Then guys, moving on. Crimea evacuates thousands after fire at military facility. So guys, again, every day there is one article on Russia-Ukraine crisis that will come. You are not really required to track that article every day. Putin will not travel to South Africa for BRICS summit. So guys, recently now BRICS summit is to be held in the month of the August. Okay, but so now Russian president is not going to travel there. Okay, moving on. After that, guys, on business page, largely we have these corporate trends, etc. that are there. Now you are not required to go and track these corporate trends for your exam point of view. Okay, then guys, moving on, we have the sports page. Okay, and after that sports page, there is this science page that comes. Sometimes it contains good articles, sometimes it doesn't contains that much relevant articles for the examination. Now, guys, when we talk about the science page here, it is talking about the human male reproduction more egalitarian by mammal standards. So basically what has happened, there is this one study that has been that has been published in the proceedings of the national, have been published in the National Academy of Sciences proceeding. Now, this particular study is saying that the reproductive success, okay, reproductive success in the case of males is more than the females, and all such dimensions are given. For exam, guys, please don't go in this particular article, because this study, their findings and all such kind of things are being given. So core biology articles and all such articles in the human physiology, these research papers are not important for our examination. More the application of science and technology is something on which the question are asked in the UPSC exam. If you have seen the previous papers, you already might be knowing it also. So guys, there are some very good articles that come. For example, yesterday there was a good article from the science page that came onto the research publications. That was a very good article. Okay, but every day they are not. So this is all about the overview, and now let's discuss all the relevant articles one by one in detail. So guys, as I was saying that you can download the synoptic notes. So you can now download these notes from the Telegram channel. Now, in every class we start with the GS quotation. So today we'll take the quote on the inclusion. It says that inclusion is a right, not a special privilege for a select few. Now guys, what do we mean by inclusion? Inclusion means that all the people from different economic backgrounds, different caste backgrounds, different race background, people from different religion needs to be given their due share in society, needs to be given their due share in economy and polity. The economy, polity and society should not be advantageous only to select few. Everyone should be included. That is inclusive growth, inclusive development. And when we talk about the inclusion, it is not a matter of special privilege, it is not a matter of charity which will be given on convenience. Rather, it is a basic right, it is a fundamental right, it is a human right which cannot be denied. So that is about the quotation. You can use it in the answers related to the GS paper number 4, answers related to GS paper number 1 society, as well as in the essay. So that is all about it. And now let's take the first article for the today. The first article for today. Now, so moving on. So guys, the first article that we are going to take, it will be important for the GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, issues related to health. Issues related to health. Okay. Now, within the social justice, the health topic could be covered. Now, basically guys, when we talk about the health, health happens to be one of the most important entitlement that has to be given to the humans. When we talk about the article number 21 of the Indian Constitution, article 21, which talks about the right to life, within the right to life, the right to health has been implicitly provided, and the Supreme Court has also recognized that right to health is the part of the article number 21, right to life. Okay, so this has been affirmed. But guys, when we talk about the right to health, it cannot be provided if two things are missing. Number one is physical, if the physical health infrastructure is missing, hospitals are not there, and second, if the health staff is missing. Now, when we talk about the health staff, there are the doctors and then there are the paramedics, which include the nurses. Okay, now in India guys, when we talk about, there is a huge shortage of the nursing colleges, and if the nursing colleges would not be there, how we will train the nurses and the paramedics? Now when we talk about when we talk about guys the health professionals, health staff, so here we have the data from the WHO, World Health Organization. World Health Organization provides this particular thing, that there are 27 million men and women who make up the global nursing and midwifery workforce. See, when we talk about guys the total health staff, out of the total health staff, 50% is the nursing staff. 50% is the nursing staff. And when we talk about the nursing staff, there are 27 million people who are the part of the global nursing and midwifery workforce. Okay, and guys, when we talk about the nurses, midwives, now midwives are the ones who specialize in the delivery of a child. So when we talk about the nurses and midwives, Southeast Asia and Africa, it has the largest shortage of the nurses, and even in India there is a huge shortage of nurses. How? Let's take some data with respect to the India. Now guys, when we take the data with respect to the India, with respect to the nurses, fine. So here you can see this particular thing. A minute, fine. So here, yes, so here we can see this particular thing, that when we talk about the nurses data, that in India there are approximately 35 lakh nurses, and when we compare the population to nurses data, we have 2.06 nurse per 1000 people. But what is the global benchmark? Global benchmark is 3 nurses per 1000 people. So we don't have the adequate number of nurses. And why we don't have adequate number of nurses? Because the nursing institutions are not there. Nursing institutions are the backbone of the medical establishment. We find this particular thing, guys, that though there has been 36% growth in the nursing institutions, the number of seats have increased, but actually the number of seats that have increased, that is not in proportion to the population that has increased since 2014. Moreover, when we talk about the nursing institutions, nursing hospitals, largely they are skewed in only few of the states. For example, according to the data provided by the Ministry of Health, we find this thing that 42% of the nursing institutions are just concentrated in the 5 states: Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Telangana, and while other 17% are in the western states of Rajasthan, Gujarat and Maharashtra. So we see this particular thing, that in total there are the 8 states. In total there are the 8 states which have nearly 60% of the nursing institutions. To be very precise, around 59% of the nursing institutions are there in just the 8 states, and only 2% of the nursing colleges are in the entire northeastern states. So there is a huge regional disparity, regional skew. So India needs to urgently focus on ensuring that we have the adequate number of paramedics. For that, adequate number of institutions which are providing the education to the nurses and paramedics, we have to open on that. Now this is one dimension that we often don't talk about, we don't discuss. We talk about hospitals, we talk about doctors, but not a lot about the nurses. Now when we talk about, guys, the growth of the nursing colleges have been far behind the growth of the medical colleges that have opened up. There has been the 81% growth of the medical colleges, but nursing college growth has been just 36%. Their growth has just been 36%, which is very much less. Now guys, in this particular direction, the central government has also come out with a dedicated scheme, and the central government has announced that they will establish 157 new nursing colleges. Now these colleges will be started in the existing facility where there is this ongoing medical college. Within those medical college, nursing college will also be started. But for that particular thing, state governments have to identify the colleges and have to send the proposal to the central government. But state governments have neither identified nor have sent those proposals. So because of this particular thing, even this particular scheme has not been much successful. So government should take this particular thing on the priority matter, and when you are writing your any answer on the health, you can also put forward this particular dimension. So that is all, guys, about it. And now we'll be moving to the next article. What are the takeaways from the NATO summit? What are the takeaways from the NATO summit? Now guys, when we talk about the NATO stands for North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And as of now, there are the 31 countries in the NATO. NATO is a military alliance. NATO is a military alliance, which means that these 31 countries have come together under a common philosophy. That is, if an attack happens on any one of them, all will assume that the attack has happened on all of us, and all collectively will come fine to resist that particular attack. NATO as an organization was creating during the Cold War to counter the USSR, and it was expected that after the collapse of USSR post 1991, NATO will become redundant, And in the last few years, many critics have said that what is the need of NATO? Now the USSR has already collapsed. You created during the Cold War. But what actually happened, as now this Russia-Ukraine war has got started, the NATO has got more relevance. And now the NATO members, these 31 countries, by the way, these 31 countries includes 29 European countries and 2 North American countries. In North America, US and Canada are there. Now the US and the West, they are talking about now actually we need to strengthen the NATO more, we need to expand the NATO more, and NATO has now got a kind of a logical justification that why we need it against Russia, because Russia has attacked the Ukraine. Russia can do this thing in future also. Okay, so so it has got a relevance. Now guys, when we talk about the NATO, when we talk about the NATO, so recent summit of the NATO has been held in Vilnius, which is the capital of Lithuania, Now, in this particular NATO summit, Ukraine has also participated. Right now, Ukraine is not the part of NATO, but Ukraine wants to be the part of NATO. And because Ukraine might have become the part of NATO, Russia attacked on the Ukraine also. Now, as of now, guys, the formal induction of Ukraine in the NATO has not happened. Okay, so Ukraine's President Zelensky, his demand of new weapon packages, security guarantees, and invitation to join the NATO, all these particular things have not been fulfilled. They stayed unfulfilled. But at this NATO, there are some important takeaways that have come. Number one, UK has provided that in the individual capacity, UK will provide the ammunition support to Ukraine against the Russia. Second development that has come here is that, guys, now the NATO countries, they say that there is ever rising fear of Russia, and therefore the NATO countries have decided that they will deploy 3 lakh troops with air capabilities and naval capabilities in order to be ready if there is any future war or any future aggression by Russia or China that is carried against them. And third, these countries have also talked about the defense production action plan. So they say that we will invest in weapon manufacturing, ammunition manufacturing. Okay, so this is the defense production action plan. Fine. And guys, as we talk about, the Finland recently joined, Sweden, fine, is about to join. Okay, and Ukraine is also forward looking to join. So we see that there is a very clear expansion of NATO that is going on into the name of Russia, and China. Now, basically, as recently the inclusion of Finland has happened, and the Sweden has also been approved that it will be joining. So basically, we see that first of all, the countries are still using the article number 10 of the Washington Treaty. So basically, Washington Treaty is the founding treaty of the NATO. Article 10 says that the member countries have a right that they can include any other country. So they have included the Finland. So it means the article number 10 has been used. Okay. And second, guys, that when we talk about the Sweden, Turkey has opposition with the Sweden's entry in the NATO, because Sweden in the past has been very much critical of the Turkey government's actions, all such kind of things. So because of that, the Turkey did not wanted the Sweden to join. Okay, but now it has been given the permission that the Sweden will join. So we have to see that how the Turkey will be persuaded in this particular capacity. Okay, now what is the most important outcome of this NATO summit? Most important outcome of this NATO summit is that very clearly the NATO summit has said that we have to deal the China. They say that there are the threats from China's hybrid cyber operations, the confrontation with the China, okay, disinformation that the China is spreading, okay, and physical fear from the China is also very much credible. So earlier the NATO was oriented towards USSR. Now it turned towards the Russia, and also with the Russia it is turning towards the China. NATO very clearly, this NATO summit, it was provided that Indo-Pacific has become a very important region. And in the Indo-Pacific, as China has been the major player already, and China also had created a lot of disputes in the Indo-Pacific. For example, the South China Sea is there. In the South China Sea, China has dispute with the countries such as the Philippines. So Indo-Pacific, they say, is a very important region, and Indo-Pacific needs to be kept secured. And in this particular capacity, China is the very big threat, and they have to keep China away. So all these particular things, guys, have happened here. Okay, these are all the takeaways. Now a question might be there, that do you find that the NATO has got a new life in the aftermath of Russia-Ukraine war? Yes, NATO has got a new life. We see all these particular things. Now, moving on, guys, to the next article. India climbs 7 points to 80 on passport index, Singapore at top position. Now, uh, basically, guys, this article is talking about the Henley passport index. You can see this particular article with respect to the prelims examination, because on the reports, there have been the multiple questions that have been asked in the past. Virtually every year, they are asking a question on report. So, we will see this particular article with respect to the prelims examination. Okay, so basically, guys, there is this Henley passport index. Now, Henley passport index ranks the world's passports. Okay, so basically, guys, every country's passport is, see, how many countries can you visit without the need of a visa? Okay, on that particular basis, we find that which passport is more strong. A strong passport is one which can go in most of the countries without the visa, and a weak passport is one which is not allowed in the other countries without a visa. Now, when we talk about, guys, the Indian passport's rank in 2023 is 80, which has improved from 87 last year. So 22, Indian passport's rank was 87. This year, India's passport rank is 80. Now, guys, the Henley passport index, it ranks 119 passports and 227 travel destinations that are there, which are covered. Now, when we, guys, talk about the Indian passport, it is rank 80th, and basically the number of countries have not improved. The same number of countries, fine, they have not improved. And when we talk about the most powerful passport in the world, it is the Singapore. It is the most powerful passport, because if you have a Singapore's passport, you can travel to 192 travel destinations out of total 227. Okay, now, Abhi, one thing is there, you are not required to go and see the number of countries every passport is allowing, which is the rank 1, rank 2, rank 3. No, just India's rank is 80. Last year it was 87. Passport index is released by the Henley, and the Henley has also released the Henley openness index. They have also released the Henley openness index. Now, what is Henley openness index? So this particular index says, now it ranks the countries, that how many countries that country is allowing, okay, to come in their country without the visa. Okay, for example, here is India, here is US. India allows the people from, let's say, 50 countries to come. Let's say US allows the people from 70 countries to come without the visa. Okay, this is the parameter on which this Henley openness index will be ranked. Now, as we talk about the Henley openness index, okay, India has been ranked here 94 out of the 97 countries. We allow only 4 countries visa-free access. We allow only 4 countries the visa-free access. And which are the most poorest performer in this particular direction? The poorest performers are the Afghanistan, North Korea, Papua New Guinea, and Turkmenistan. They don't allow any country to visit them without a visa. If you have to visit these countries, you have to take a visa. Even if you are from US, you are from Singapore, you are not allowed. Moving on. A job and career right the disabled cannot be denied. We'll take this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, social justice. Within the social justice, we'll take it under the topic vulnerable sections of society. Vulnerable sections of society. Okay. Now, guys, when we talk about the justice, there is one rule of justice that you might have been heard many number of times. That is, justice delayed is justice denied. Okay, so you might have heard it many number of times. that justice delayed is justice denied. Now, many number of a times, many of the cases are pending, justice cannot be given in the time. For example, sometimes the cases are hanging because of the complex nature of the case is very much complicated. Sometimes because of the lack of judicial attention, sometimes because the aggrieved party, the concerned party, they don't have a resource to hire a judge, they don't have legal awareness, some petty issues are there because of which the case is hanging. Now, this particular article is actually talking about the case with respect to the reservation for the disabled people in the promotion, reservation in promotion. Okay. Now guys, when we talk about the disabled people in India as of census 2011, 2.2% of the people in India are disabled. The disabled people have been already given the reservation in government jobs. But this article is talking about a case that is lying in the judiciary. The case is that disabled people should also be given the reservation in promotion. In the promotion also they should be given the reservation. Now, when we talk about guys, the disabled people, we have this Person with Disabilities Act 1995. We have the Person with Disabilities Act 1995, and this particular act for the first time recognized the right of the disabled people in the government jobs. Okay, right of disabled people in the government jobs. Now guys, one thing I want to add from my side, there has been Right of Person with Disabilities Act 2016 that has come, and Right of Person with Disabilities Act 2016 has replaced the Person with Disabilities Act 1995. This act has replaced, but the article is still talking about the 1995 act. I don't know why, but you keep in your mind that though it is talking about the 1995 act, but this act has been replaced with a Right of Person with Disabilities Act 2016. Okay, now moving on. So when we talk about the Right of Person with Disabilities Act 1995, it provided for the reservation. It provided for 3% reservation for the disabled people in the employment. But initially the reservation was given only in the Group C and Group D jobs. The reservation was for Group C, Group D before this act came. Sorry, my mistake. Before the act came, Group C and Group D reservation was there. Now guys, the reservation actually got extended to Group A and Group B also with the coming of the act. So this was a very good initiative. But guys, what actually has happened, though reservation has been given, but actually the reservation has not been provided on the ground. Why? Because of the orders that have been passed by the Department of Personnel and Training. So what actually happened? what actually happened? Okay. Department of Personnel and Training order in 2005 withdrew the reservation for the disabled people in promotion in the Group A and Group B. So the promotion in that reservation was withdrawn by the DOPT order. Now this particular matter guys actually reached the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court in this particular capacity in 2017 it was provided that the reservation in the promotion is to be given to the disabled people in Group A and Group B. So this order of 2005 which withdrew the reservation in promotion, that order was said that is nullified, and now the reservation in the promotion is to be given to the disabled people as per the ruling of the Supreme Court. Okay. Now this is something that is happening. Now when we talk about the Supreme Court provided this particular thing, that when we talk about the concept of reservation, article number 16 subclause 1, which guarantees the equality of opportunity, reading the article number 16, you cannot deny the reservation to the disabled people. So under the article 16 they can be given the reservation, including the reservation in the promotions. So this particular thing happened. So guys, here we see that judiciary has actually played a very important role, and because of the effort of judiciary, because of the liberal interpretation of judiciary, now the reservation is being given even into the promotions, as judiciary has said this thing. Now further moving on, but guys, actually what the issue has happened, up till now, though judiciary has observed this particular thing, but the final adjudication order has not been passed. Implementation of this particular thing has not happened till now. So actually on the ground, the respite has not come to the people. So basically guys, what has happened, though Supreme Court ruled this particular thing. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that suppose the matter has been there in the Supreme Court or in any court, from time to time the submissions will be made, observations will be made, comments will be made, but then there will be a final order that will be passed. Until and unless final order is not passed, the judgment is not closed, the case is not closed. Up till now, the Supreme Court has given a favor to reservation in the promotion. For example, 2017 case, 2017 observation we have seen, but the final order has not been passed. Because of that, actually the reservation in the promotion has not been given to the people. So therefore, the article is saying that Supreme Court immediately should take up this particular matter on the priority. So if you remember, in the start we have seen that the justice delayed is justice denied. Why justice gets delayed? Sometimes because of the lack of judicial attention. So here the judiciary should give their attention as early as possible. So this is guys all about this particular article. And now moving to the next article. Now guys, this article, more than court action, revisit the Indus Water Treaty. Now this particular article guys will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, international relation, neighborhood, India-Pakistan relation will take it. India-Pakistan relation will take this particular article. Now, first of all guys, before going in this particular article, let me tell you some of the basic background information. So basically guys, there is Indus Water Treaty 1960 between India and Pakistan, and as per this Indus Water Treaty, out of the 6 rivers of the Indus, 3 western rivers are given to Pakistan and 3 eastern rivers are to be given to the India. Okay, so Indus, Jhelum, Chenab. 3 rivers were given to Pakistan, and Ravi, Beas, Satluj. These 3 rivers were given to India. In terms of the water volume, 80% of the water was given to Pakistan, 20% of the water was given to the India. Now guys, basically guys, as the terms of this particular agreement is there, Indus Water Treaty is there, it has been provided that even on the western rivers, even on the rivers of Pakistan, India can construct ROR, run of river projects. India can construct the project but cannot store the water, cannot divert the water. Now what does it mean in the simple terms? Now for example, suppose let's say guys, there is the Jhelum river. Let's say the Jhelum river is there, and the Jhelum river in India is falling from some height. What we can do, we can put a turbine here, so that as the river is falling from the height, by this turbine we can take the hydroelectricity. We are not making any dam, we are not storing the water. Just as the water is falling from gravity, we are making electricity out of it. These kind of projects where consumption of water will not happen, diversion of water will not happen, these kind of projects can even be constructed on the Indus, Jhelum and Chenab river. This right has been given to India. Now guys, what actually happens, India has constructed certain projects onto the rivers that have been given to Pakistan. And here there are 2 of the dams that we actually have constructed. That is just a minute. Yes. So that is the Kishan Ganga. So we have constructed the run of river hydroelectric project on the Kishan Ganga. Now Kishan Ganga is the tributary of Jhelum, and Ratle Dam we have constructed on the Chenab river. We can construct it because Indus Water Treaty gives us this particular permission. Now guys, the Pakistan again and again brings this particular matter forward, that why you have constructed the project. Treaty is very clear that India can construct this particular project. Now guys, what actually has happened recently, the Pakistan in 2023, Pakistan moved to the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague and said this particular thing, that the construction of these 2 projects is going against the Indus Water Treaty. Now guys, India has also, because of this behavior of Pakistan in the past, has said that we want to revise the Indus Water Treaty. Why we want to revise the Indus Water Treaty? Let me explain you that particular dimension also. So basically in the Indus Water Treaty itself, in the Indus Water Treaty itself, it has been very clearly provided that if there is any dispute, it has been clearly provided that if there will be any dispute between the two countries, there is the step-by-step mechanism. Step number 1, the countries will go to the Permanent Indus Commission. Now, Permanent Indus Commission have members of both the countries, so they will go to Permanent Indus Commission. If the problem is not solved at Permanent Indus Commission, there will be a World Bank appointed neutral expert. There will be a World Bank appointed neutral expert. You can approach to this neutral expert. And if the problem is not solved here also, then third step, you go to the Permanent Court of Arbitration. You can go to the Permanent Court of Arbitration. But what Pakistan does, Pakistan directly reaches the Permanent Court of Arbitration on any dispute. And now also the Pakistan has directly reached to the Permanent Court of Arbitration. Because of this thing, India said that we want to change the Indus Water Treaty. Now, India's point is that you cannot directly go. You cannot directly go to the Permanent Court of Arbitration. This was the India's viewpoint. But guys, recently what has happened? Permanent Court of Arbitration has given its ruling, and the Permanent Court of Arbitration said this particular thing. Now, this is not in favor of India. So, Permanent Court of Arbitration said this particular thing, that the court is competent to determine the disputes in response to the Pakistan's request. Pakistan can directly come to the Court of Arbitration. There is no problem. Okay, so it has supported the Pakistan. It goes against the favor of India. Now, the Permanent Court of Arbitration says that right now in the atmosphere of lack of trust, fine, judicial recourse is better. Fine, right now the conditions between India and Pakistan are not good. So, the judicial recourse, approaching the judiciary, is a better way according to the Permanent Court of Arbitration. That is something that has happened. Now, guys, what the article is talking about? The article is actually saying this particular thing, that okay, from time to time there have been the disputes between India and Pakistan, but one dimension that India and Pakistan has actually not focused upon. What is that dimension? They say this particular thing, that bilateral water agreements are always vulnerable to climate change. See this thing. This agreement was signed in 1960, and already there are more than 60 years, nearly 63 years since this particular agreement has been signed. Over these 63 years, the amount of water flowing in these rivers is not the same. Because of the climate change, the amount of water has reduced, and as the amount of water will reduce, the countries will face a water stress, and these crises will come forward. So, these water agreements don't take in account the climate change vulnerability. Okay. Under the partitioning logic, it has been said that 3 rivers are to India, and these 3 rivers have been given to the Pakistan. But what about the water availability? Water availability will go down. Pakistan will say that in 1960 we were receiving 100 liter of water. Today we are receiving 70 liter of water. 30 liter of water has been taken by India. But no, it is not that. The water has reduced because of the water availability that has gone down. Okay. Then guys, at the same time guys, India has specifically been provided that it can construct a dam onto the western rivers. Fine, but they should not stop the water. They can construct that particular dams. India has constructed this particular dam, but again Pakistan has a problem in this. Now see this particular thing guys, that when the water sharing on the transnational river is concerned, a river which will be shared by 2 countries, on that such kind of a river, there are 2 rules that have to be followed by every country. Rule is ERU. Number 1 is ERU, that is equitable and reasonable utilization of water. And second is no harm rule. No harm rule. What is no harm rule? And what is this ERU rule? Equitable, reasonable utilization means that you should use water in a fair capacity. Don't exploit, don't abuse the water. And don't use water as a weapon against the another country. Let me give you one example. China is constructing the dam on the Brahmaputra river. China can store a lot of water in those dams and can release that water just to flood the India. That is using the water as a weapon. So that should not happen. Okay. And guys, for this particular thing, there is also the Convention on the Law of the Non-Navigational Use of International Water Courses 1997. Both the India and Pakistan should join it. India is not a party of this. Pakistan is also not a party. So they should join it and should cooperate on this particular river in more meaningful and in more of a matured way. So this is, guys, all what has been provided in this particular article. And now moving to the next article. Moving to the next article. Online abuse among college students. Okay, we'll see this particular article, guys, with respect to the GS paper number 2, women and the vulnerability of the women. Now, okay, so basically, guys, you might have often come across that there is this technology facilitated sexual violence that has largely been committed onto the women. What is this technology facilitated sexual violence? Using internet and through internet while carrying the sexual violence against the women. So technology facilitated sexual violence could be, for example, making morphed nude images of the women, okay, sexualized blackmailing, okay. For example, a person has access of some of the intimate photographs of a woman and blackmailing that women that I will leak these photographs. This is sexualized blackmailing. Digital flashing, rape threats, okay, sending them explicit comments. What is digital flashing? Often people send the photographs of their private parts to the women. That is the digital flashing. Okay, rape threats, explicit comments, negative comments, all these are the type of the technology facilitated sexual violence which is committed a lot against the women, particularly through the platforms of Instagram and Facebook. Now, guys, when we talk about these particular abuse, these abuse actually are very harmful for the women. Why? Because they can have the consequence on the loss of their academic career, loss of their academics career. They might go in isolation. They might be ostracized by their family. Even if there are some videos or photos that have been leaked, their families can ostracize them. Then, guys, they can go into the state of depression, post-traumatic stress, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. All these problems can emerge because of these particular things. Now, when we talk about, guys, India, we already have the IT Act 2000, and the IT Act 2000 basically it criminalizes the technology facilitated sexual violence, but there are so much of the ambiguities in the law, and the IT Act has not been able to deal with this particular thing very properly. Here the gap is there. Actually, the meta platforms, for example Facebook, they on their platform has not brought these filters that such kind of activity should not happen. They have not optimized their platforms for the Indian context. For example, guys, there is the moderating policy of Facebook, on which particular type of keywords, the moment they will be cached by algorithm will remove these keywords. But these keywords are largely the English keywords, American English keywords. There are the abusive content which actually is in Indian languages, So in Indian languages, abusive content, it cannot be captured by the Meta's platform, and Meta is also not optimizing their platform. Now, we will come with the Digital India Act, and in the Digital India Act, it is the responsibility of the government that government should go in this particular angle and should put a legal obligation on these platforms that they have to counter all such kind of technology facilitated sexual violence. So that is all, guys, about this particular article. And guys, now coming to the mains practice question for today. The denial of reservation in promotion is a major factor in denying the disabled the right to progress to a higher level in organization. GS paper number 2, 10 marker question. GS paper number 2, 10 marker question. That is all, guys, about it. And with this, we have come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. Guys, I hope that you have liked it. Thank you so much.